One vaping device equals 2 cartons music of cigarettes. In that little tiny device, you are literally getting 400 cigarette puffs music. Heavy users can get up to 7,000 puffs per year. If you think vaping is harmless, or some alternative to smoking, or it's music just flavoring, you're misinformed. First of all, the flavoring that you're breathing in was never meant to be inhaled. It's meant to be consumed. Number 2, you're getting an aerosol, which is made up of tiny little particles that are broken up and they're going into your lungs, which then go into the bloodstream. For years, they tried to figure out how to make these little vaping units because they would irritate your lungs and your throat. What they eventually did is they found the way to turn the nicotine into a salt, which drops the pH. And so you can consume a tremendous clear throat amount of nicotine without the harshness. On average, one of these vaping units has 650 milligallons of pure nicotine. The nicotine receptor is almost identical to an acetylcholine receptor, but nicotine is so close to acetylcholine that nicotine can hijack that receptor. And so when you're exposed to nicotine, you are affecting different areas of your body. You're affecting your brain, you're affecting the adrenals, you're affecting the heart. And many modern disposable vapes like the Geek Bar or the Pulse or the Elf Bar use the nicotine salts, which is a way to bypass that harshness. And the problem is every time you puff that aerosol, it's desensitizing the receptor, which basically makes the body more hungry for nicotine. Now, you might say that the nervous system really doesn't care how much nicotine it gets because it can deal with it. That's absolutely positively not true, because deep at the cellular level, you're creating inflammation in the cells. You're actually creating an environment for tumors to grow as well. You're altering receptors in several different ways, which create a major consequence, which I'm going to get to now. The first misconception that a lot of people have with vaping is it relaxes me. At the cellular level, that is impossible. It doesn't calm anything. Nicotine is a stimulant, okay? Which means it tightens your blood vessels. It creates vasoconstriction. So why then do you feel so calm when you do it? Well, when you start doing it, your body becomes desensitized to the point where your body builds up a chemical dependence. And it really has to do with downgrading the receptors to make them not as sensitive anymore. So therefore, you're needing more and more nicotine to create the same effect. Let's say every morning you drop a sharp, jagged pebble in your shoe and it hurts. And then once an hour you slip off your shoe for about 60 seconds and then you say, oh my gosh, I feel so much relief, I feel so much better. That's exactly what's happening with the vaping. You're building up a cortisol stress response, and then the nicotine actually gives you a little relief from that. Number 2, it's just water vapor. Complete myth. Water vapor is a gas. The vaping is an aerosol, a cloud of microscopic liquid droplets. They're small enough to slip through and pass through your airways, which are the natural filters. So the question is, what's in those droplets? Well, you have solvents, you have vegetable glycerin, you have synthetic flavorings. And some of these flavorings contain another chemical called diacetyl, which is the same chemical they use in the butter flavoring on popcorn, which they found creates irreversible lung damage. Then you have the heating unit that warms this liquid to around 200 degrees to 300. And when I say toxic byproducts, I'm talking about one being formaldehyde. That's the chemical that they embalm you with, acrolein, which is a harsh chemical used to kill aquatic weeds. You can also pick up heavy metal trace minerals like nickel, cadmium right off the heated coil itself. But overall, I will say it is true there are less chemicals than in cigarettes, for sure. When you're vaping, you're not just inhaling water. If your environment is off, everything else struggles. It's like a fish tank. Pollute the water and the fish get sick. You could feed them the best food. You can treat every single symptom, but if the water stays toxic, nothing recovers. The body runs on 10 signals like insulin, cortisol, inflammation, sleep quality, gut function. Every one of them affects how you feel, but there is always one signal that is more broken than the rest. And until you fix that one, everything else stays stuck. I built a free 2-minute quiz that finds it for you. It tells you which one of the main signals is holding your body back right now. Click the link in the description, take the quiz, and stop guessing. Another misconception is that it makes me happy when I vape. It brings up my mood. That's another myth. What happens is when you downgrade these receptors, your mood goes down. You actually become more flattened. And this really has to do with dopamine, because dopamine is the neurotransmitter that's involved with this. Nicotine triggers dopamine, and dopamine creates an urge towards something that is considered survival, which actually is not survival at all. It's actually going to make you worse. On top of that, this addiction becomes a really bad habit that you do when you're doing nothing at home, or when you're driving, or when you take a break. It's really a trap because it's highly addictive. And every time you take a puff, you're training the brain that this is good, keep doing it, creating withdrawal, which is basically, like I said before, this pressure or stress that you're trying to relieve. When the teenager starts vaping, unfortunately, the brain hasn't fully developed yet. So you're training this underdeveloped brain in a certain way that has huge consequences down the road. And not only your mood could be affected, but your cognitive function, your ability to learn, your memory, your focus can be affected by this as well because of dopamine downregulation. Now that you understand the basics of what vaping can do and how it is an addiction, I created another video on how to overcome any addiction very quickly, and I put it right here. Check it out.